everybody, my name is Zonda, and today we are taking a look at the new Perfume Genius album. Set my heart on fire. Immediately. Oh, and the theme of fire is all too appropriate given how hot it is today. So if you observe me slowly turning into a human ball of sweat, that is why. Perfume Genius is kind of weird to describe. He's not too out there like some of the stuff I've covered, but there's just such a specific vibe to his music that's kind of difficult to capture into words. What kind of captivates me about him initially is both his weird production, and that's including his vocals and the way that they Tom York their way into the upper registers and kind of hum around, combined with his excellent songwriting. It really delves into personal themes like few others are able to. This is apparent right from the first track on this new album. It's called Whole Life, which is about his journey of accepting the fact that he probably will die, and it's now sooner rather than later given his age, but you know, YOLO and all that. The first time I heard it, I was kind of stuck in a trance, not really knowing how to process what was coming into my ears. The stringy, synthy bed of reverb that he's sitting on is just magnetic to the ears, and the way that he, howls subtly, the main lyric to the song, "Half of my whole life is gone," cut through me in a way I wasn't expecting. And the lyrics to that song were pretty explicit. I mean, non-subtle, not like swearing. In that he doesn't beat around the bush about what he's scared of, he just kind of puts it out there and lays back and is just like, yeah. But that's not every track. There are actually some great lyrics here, such as the ones on Describe, where he's talking about some relationship that ends and wanting to get revenge. So he's imagining himself in a police station, just like, can you describe the person who hurt you to me? His lyrics are sometimes quite simplistic, but always poetic, like the "I got what you need, nothing at all." But despite what I said previously, the backings do have some kind of variety to them. Tracks like On the Floor and Your Body Changes Everything actually have quite a bit of funk and groove to them. They're driven forwards by their funky noodly guitars and simplistic yet still effective drums. I just kind of wish they had funked it a bit harder. The groove never really changes, it's just throughout the entire song. And that isn't necessarily a bad thing, it's just that I really would have appreciated some variety, especially given the length of the track. However, the more traditionally poppy tracks with the groove to them are the exception, not the rule. Most of the tracks are his aerial, ambient, stringy synthy backing that feels more like a cloud passing by than actual instrumentation. And like I said earlier, his voice is there to match it. And while the tracks with groove were actually my favourite ones on the album, they're not really what this album's all about, like a break before getting back into the depression. And to be honest, I'm perfectly okay with that. Most of these songs are written so well that it works. The songwriting quality on this album is off the charts. He really knows how to structure songs and put lyrics together and to turn that into nice sounding hooks so it fits together like a jigsaw. To ignore the fact that sonically speaking this album is pretty bland and doesn't have much to offer. It's kind of like a Mark Koslek album in that way. But this is only the case most of the time. There are certainly a few boring tracks on this album. Leave, Just a Touch and Borrowed Light all feel like it's him just noodling at the top of his register over a backing track that's kind of cliche at this point. Like the day he came into the studio to record these, he didn't say, alright, let's experiment, let's write something interesting. He was just like, okay, you know the sound we have? More of that. And when the best more of that you can come up with is a repeated harpeggiato of sounds of a whale and some Jacob Collier-esque vocal harmonies, just without the spice that makes it interesting, I'm left empty and kind of bored. So the way I listen to music isn't always to listen to it in one go. I normally will listen to albums by breaking them up just with the sheer breadth of stuff I listen to. But I thought that given that the long, atmospheric passages, not only in a single song, but the way that they're strung together to craft these greater ambient palettes, I thought that I probably should listen to it all the way through at least once. But I didn't because I got bored. Honestly, when this album's at its best, it's great. Perfume Genius has perfected the art of just grabbing you by the emotions and just ugh. However, that can only carry him so far. I would be lying if I told you that I enjoyed every second of this album, but for the parts that I did enjoy, the main tracks, they were simply great and I loved them. And so it's kind of weird to come up with an exact rating just because of this mismatch in quality that I feel is there. I've never really been one for shoegazy, airy, ambient music, but re-observing some of the albums that I did, I found that what kept me going back to them is the timbre, the way that if you just plug in your earphones and listen, you can pick out so many sounds and so many nuances in the EQ and the playing. The fact that two of them are explicit concept albums and the other is an instrumental album might tell you something. But what I'm trying to get at is that he loses his emotional through line when he's just noodling over songs, and that's really what it feels like. But the reason I'm dwelling on the negative so much is just because the positive is so easy to describe. It's so visceral. It's not like it's built up massive layers of instrumentation with tons to analyze. It's just really piercing and soul-crushing songwriting that's fantastic. And for those reasons, I'm going to settle on giving this album a 7+ out of 10. I really did enjoy it, and a lot of it was great, but I don't feel like it earned an 8 just because too much of it bored me. But hey, that's just my opinion. I would very much appreciate it if you like the video, it helps me out tons. Subscribe if you want to see more things, and comment. What did you think of this album? It seems to have kind of divided the music community in a way you don't see all the time, so I'd love to hear your guys' opinions. And with that, I'm not wearing any pants.